Hello, this is Pixel Freak, and this is the Final Fantasy Dimensions walkthrough, Part 6. At least I hope it's Part 6. If not, disregard what I'm saying right now. It's part whatever the video says. I'm pretty sure it's Part 6. So in this section, we don't actually have a dungeon. We just left the Crystal Tower, we got all our jobs, and we're headed back to Lux. There's some story elements here, and then we go to a town and I clean that town out. That's all that I had time for. Unfortunately, I want to keep these walkthrough sections to under 20 minutes if possible. And this one's 11 minutes, but the next one actually includes a dungeon and it's 15, so I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and cut it into two pieces. So, some story elements happen here. First thing probably worth saying is, if you noticed, as I was walking there before I got into this fight, there is a missing piece of mountain there. When you get back to the cave that took you to get to this section, you had to walk through this whole dungeon cave section in the beginning of the game. That dungeon, the entrance and the exit are right next to each other, and there's no mountain there. So you can see you can shortcut now with this little desert area and walk straight back to Lux. You don't need to go back in that cave. If you do, you're just killing your own time. You don't need to do that. So, the cataclysm that had happened when the crystal split caused that earthquake that caused the mountains to vanish. Also, all these fights, you should just kind of run from them or just kill these guys as fast as possible, because these guys are worthless. These are the beginning enemies of the game, so they are a cakewalk for your team, who is now not only much higher in levels, but also has jobs, and jobs makes you kick ass. So, you just smoke right through them. Not until after you get past the Lux piece, which is coming up here in a second. At that point, the enemies get a little bit more difficult. You may also want to level up a little bit now that you have your fancy new jobs with your fancy new clothes. And in Sarah's case, she has a horn, so that's very becoming. But anyways, if you want to level up those jobs, you can do so back in the Crystal Tower / Crystal Temple. I'm not sure what exactly it's called, but let's go with Crystal Temple. There's enemies there that would allow you to level up your jobs, or you can wait until you get past the Lux section here. That will allow you to get some a little bit beefier enemies and raise some levels. I'm going to shut up here during this little story piece. So I gotta jump in here. What's really interesting here is they walk up and they're like, the town, the castle, where'd they go? No concern whatsoever for any friends or family they had. It's mostly just the town and the castle that they're worried about overall. If it was me, and let's say, well, I'm from the Seattle area, and so let's say one day I come home and I'm like, holy crap, Seattle's gone. It's not all my coworkers, all my friends and my family, my wife and child. No, screw them. Who cares about them? I care about just the fact that the city's not there anymore. I think I'd break down, freak out, and break something. So it's interesting too, what they're doing here is you have two members from the second team and two members from the first team that have come together to create this Warriors of Light team. And you can only assume that two members of each team have also composed to do the Warriors of Darkness, or the Dark Warriors, or the Dark Crystal Warriors, whatever you want to call them. You can imagine that that team's composed of them. There's an interesting dynamic here where we have people from the Empire and people from Luxians and Empyreans, and they kind of have this mutual distrust of each other. It's like, you're to blame for this and you're to blame for this. It's almost like, and I hate to say this, but it's like the Avengers. It's like so many movies, so many plots before it that pins two adversaries together where they have to actually work together, and makes them grow in their personalities and their characters by working together, having a teamwork fusion, and then everybody grows in the end, and then we're allowed to have our happily ever after. It's kind of a cool little story gimmick. It's much more complex than anything else you'll find out on Android or iOS. Most games out there just have very devoid plot lines. It's usually just, you're the chosen one, save the world, which is way too cliche. This is cliche as well, but at least it's not as cliche. So it's not too bad of a storyline. I can follow this. At least with this particular type of storyline, I can identify with the characters. Oh, poor you. You have to work with somebody that you hate. We all work with people that we hate. So, cool story. Cool way to progress it. I really like the mechanics they did. So you get back to the gate here, and there's nobody there. You keep on going, and then the new town is here right to the south. This is the area I was talking about here. These two bugbears are about the strongest fight that you'll get in this area, but this is where you can grind up, and I recommend doing so because in this town that I'm about to enter, there are spells for sale, and there are weapons and armor that you can fill out. Most of the weapons and armor is stuff that you've already seen, but you're allowed to, at this point, buy duplicates. I think your best sword is available in the weapons store, stuff like that. So you can buy more of the same things if you'd like to, and you will spend quite a bit of cash actually fleshing that out. Cool thing is, too, the next town that you come to after this one I'm about to go into actually has the exact same spells and armor. So if you just hang out here, grind up a little bit of gil, and then you buy all your weapons and armor and spells upgrades here, you won't even need to buy anything from the next town. You'll be able to skip it over entirely. Liene. That's the name of the town, Liene. I talked to most of the people here, and I do collect all the items out of the town, though I have to say, from the last two towns, there was quite a bit of extra little goodies in bookshelves and pots and barrels, and this town unfortunately does not have very much of that. There are a few different items, but most of them are consumable items, and most of them aren't that good. There's like an antidote hidden somewhere, and antidote, that's so worthless that it's just not even worth picking up. So take note of where I pick up the good items from so you can go through and grab those real quick and just disregard the other ones. And there's only a couple of them anyways. So here it kind of shows a little bit of an extra side story plot. And this, you know, I almost don't like what they're doing here with the Dusk character because they're playing with him like he's this spy and keeps talking into this flower. But I do kind of like what they do here in just a second. Dun, dun, dun. So now he knows. He knows that the other guy talks to flowers. He knows that guy is the flower whisperer. But anyways, it shows that that there is some kind of an espionage, some kind of betrayal that's going on right now. It'll probably be revealed that it's not really a super betrayal. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far in the game yet. More than likely, he's like talking to his grandma or something, or either that or he's kind of reporting in right now, but he's going to betray those guys to, you know, align with his team. He's going to have to do that because that's the progression of this type of storyline where he has to come together as the Warriors of Light in order to save the world. I'm expecting it, but nonetheless, when it happens, I'm going to think it's awesome, and I'm probably going to pee a little bit when it happens. Okay, so nonetheless, I go around and I talk to everybody. If you want to read all the dialogue, feel free to read all the dialogue. And again, I don't find much in the pots. Another interesting thing I found about this city is that in most cities in Final Fantasy games or these JRPG games, when you go to talk to people, I should say any RPG for that matter, the next logical progression of the game is usually dropped in subtle hints by several characters within the town. Unfortunately, in this town, only one character that I found says anything, and it's this lady right here. She says, Castle Liene. Oh, well, you have to go northwest. Sure, when you look at the map, there really is only northwest that you can go. But aside from that, no one really tells you where to go. So it's like, hey, you need to go to this town. And it's like, okay, so I'm here. Now what the hell am I supposed to do? I mean, it's logical where you're supposed to go, but I thought it was kind of interesting that no one really tells you, except for the one lady, where to go. You have to actually go out and find it. So here I am cleaning up some of the spells from here. And the cool thing about spells in this game, once you buy them for all your characters. It kind of adds to your repertoire, your lexicon of spells, if you will. It's kind of nice that it gets shared. And that's why I bought all my spells first before I even bought any weapons and armor, because I like to buy the shared resources. So there is an item up here in these barrels, I think. Ooh, 10 gil. Big winner. So there you go. That's one you can skip if you'd like to. Unless you're one of those OCD people that needs to get every single barrel. If that's the case, I'm probably going to miss some throughout the game. I am trying to get 100% of everything. I won't know if I did, but I'm trying to pick up everything if I can. You can see I'm hunting for things as I go. Unfortunately for this game, there are no like real strong, good walkthroughs out there, at least not that I could find. or ones that are coherent, I should say. So in doing this walkthrough, I'm kind of trying to figure it all out partly as I go. I am doing 2 playthroughs, and I know I've mentioned that in a previous video, where I'm playing through each dungeon. I'll go through about 2 or 3 dungeons, and then I'll go back and I'll do the recording. So I've already touched everything once before, but these towns, I'm not going to record going through them twice and write everything down on where every barrel is. No, that's insane. I'll go through and try to search everything one time through, and then you can make note of whatever items it is that you want, and you can go back and get them. Get out of the way. And again, nothing in here. It's kind of interesting, because in those previous towns, there was like 1 item per house at least. And in this one, it's like maybe 1 out of 4 or 5. These houses are just empty. I thought these fireplaces looked suspicious too, that they weren't burning. None of them were. I think I searched several of them. It might not have been on this particular playthrough that I searched them. I might have searched them on my other playthrough, but there was nothing in them. Antidote. Worthless. Those are so cheap that if you want to pick it up, pick it up. If not, yeah. So this pot down here, the one off to the right, a golden needle, that one's worth picking up. I think that's worth 200 gil. So that pot down there, it's a little tricky to get to, but not really tricky. It's just kind of a almost secret path, but not really. That's a high potion, and I still I'm much farther in the game than this at this particular time. I still can't buy high potions, so that's a good thing to have. So that's this town, that's Liene, and that's the end of this video. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, this has been Pixel Freak.